You've seen a lot of Ron in my videos, probably. Now it's time to talk about me. You may have seen my blog or any of that. Anyway, hi, I'm Heather. My mom had a really challenging life. She drank quite a bit while she was pregnant with me. I am not saying live long and prosper here. This is a sign of fetal alcohol syndrome, which I have. I wasn't diagnosed until I was 17, so my whole life I knew I was special. I knew I didn't measure up. Didn't know why. When I was 17. School was horrible for me. I have what's called an audio processing disorder. So, school is all about the talking. Heather, this is how you do it. Guess what? Heather doesn't get that. I have to read it. In fact, I used to get in trouble for reading in class, and I would drive my teachers nuts because I would read in class, ignore the teacher, and do well on the tests. Drove them bug them. Anyways, about the time I started hallucinating. I have bipolar disorder too. Started hallucinating when I was about 3. Delusions, paranoia. People don't like to hear that, so I learned pretty quick. Better put a cork in that, hide it, cover it up, act as normal as you can. Which, well, I don't know. You'd have to talk to my family about that. Anyways, I did my best. I got saved when I was 8. Old faithful here. Bible that's falling apart belongs to someone who isn't. We have been through a lot together. Many suicidal depressions, bipolar. Also, fetal alcohol really predisposes people to suicide. Quite a few of us. We're also really prone to drug addictions and stuff, but I'm really paranoid about that. I got saved when I was 8. I grew up Presbyterian, and it was a Baptist. The Baptist Bible camp who actually said, well, if you want to get saved, this is how you do it. My dad also gets some credit because he was the one who said, read this Bible during the church service because it was all talking. I don't like talking. Can't stand. Don't tell me how to do something. Just give me a manual. Please, please. That's why I love my job. Ron gives me a manual. I read it. I figure out the vending machine. So, I had a really difficult time relating to other people because fetal alcohol syndrome is primarily an information processing disorder. And when you interact socially with other people, you have to pick up cues, you have to register them, you have to process what the cue means. Is someone pulling away from you? Are you drawing somebody in? Are they really finished talking? Oh boy, I still am a really bad interrupter. Yeah, stuff like that. So I just did really abysmally. The few friends I had, it's really a testament to them, I think, and not me. So, hallucinating, depressed, to the point of suicidal. All this. What do I got to be happy about? Why am I still alive? Well, I got saved, and I knew when I was 13, I had a really horrible suicidal depression. And it was so bad. For the worst I've ever had. I really didn't even know the day of the week. They had to force me to eat. They had to force me to bathe. I was just a wreck. One night, I just decided I couldn't. They put me on antidepressants. And after a couple of weeks, what often happens when you start somebody on antidepressants is they get suicidal. That's what happened to me. But I didn't tell anybody. Not at that point. I got very suicidal, and I decided I was going to kill myself by overdosing on the antidepressants. Gee, original. And I just the thought of waking up was just... I lived in a wonderful home. I had a great life. But I was so unhappy. And I decided I was going to kill myself. So I prayed about it and I went to bed. I said, God, I don't want to live anymore. It's your life. I turned it over to you when I was 8. If you don't want me dead, you're going to have to show me what you want me to do. And that night I had a dream, and God just wrapped me in His love. And it was just overwhelming, the sense of comfort. I can still carry that with me to this day. And he let me know this was as bad as it was going to get, that nothing in my life would ever be as bad as where I was right then and there. That my life would be great. I would have a wonderful, productive life. I would do a lot of good for God. But I had to hang in there. So, he also put what to do in my head. So the next day I woke up, I got dressed, I went to school, my big bottle of antidepressants. I was a member of the library club. I've been the original bookworm. I could process things I read a lot better than things I heard. I was going to check myself in and go hide out in the library, basically, overdose on the pills and die. That was the goal. Instead, I went into the guidance office and told the counselor, I'm going to kill myself today. I really need to be in a hospital. And they made that happen. And I was put in the hospital. It was a good experience overall, but they didn't diagnose the bipolar. Started getting manic. The next 5 years were not easy for anybody. I met Ron when I was 17, and just was not living a Christian life. And they took me off the antidepressants. They figured I was better. And Ron and I ran off together the day after I turned 18. And he was 37. That was rather scandalous. And he tried. He didn't know what was wrong with me, though. And it wasn't until he was actually dead that God showed him something was wrong with me and that I would eventually get it fixed. You couldn't see that in his video. And I pulled away from God. I was jacking up with Ron at the time, and God can't bless you if you're breaking His commandments. So it wasn't until Ron's accident that I really kind of changed, turned my life around. He was hit by a pickup truck walking to work, and he had the most severe head injury you can have and still have your brains in your head. It was really grim, and just looking at him, I blacked a lot of it out. People would just take one look at Ron and get hysterical. It was that bad. His head was just, to quote the guy who hit him, he looked fine except for his head. Thank you. And because Ron and I were not legally married, I couldn't make any decisions about his care. It was very grim. I suffered a lot because of that, financially, and also just not being able to make decisions about whether Ron lived or died, and where he was going to go when he got better, or whether he was going to go in a nursing home, or any of that. Please, do not live with a man without getting married, or a woman. Not worth it. Wedding ring. That's what you need. So, I just totally repented. I said, God, I have screwed up my life completely. I know everything I'm suffering through is because I broke your commandments, and I want to get right with you again. I'm going to marry Ron. I'm going to make sure this happens, but I'm going to need you to help carry me. And God carried me. I mean, one very, very small example. Ron's family disowned him, and they had made some promises about care they were going to give him. They were going to provide me with a ride home. They were going to help me get groceries. They were going to help me get the medication. They were going to help me get a wheelchair. And 12 hours before, Ron says, if you can't treat Heather with the respect of my wife, I don't want you around. I said, okay, go, we're gone. And I have no wheelchair. I have no ride home. I have none of this. And I just go, God, I need your help. And I just turned it all over to him, and one after the other, all lined up, boom. I have the ride home, I have the medication, I have everything. Just wonderful. And it's, sometimes when we're in our worst situations and there's no way out of it except God, He can really do amazing things in our lives. Amazing. And one thing I realized when Ron was in the hospital, too, was that I had my Bible. And you know what? Nobody else had a Bible. And I had some extra Bibles at home. And I thought to myself, can I hold these back? I started handing out Bibles. I was very sneaky about it. When everybody was gone, I would put them out. Very sneaky, very timid. Oh, I don't want to be seen as a fanatic. And everybody talked about how much comfort they got from the Bibles. The Bibles kept disappearing. They kept going home with people. And I put out more Bibles. And then my mental illness got really bad after. Ron was okay, but I wasn't. So there was a hiatus there for a couple years. I finally got diagnosed. Everything was better. On my medication. And God started showing me people who needed Bibles again. And the next thing you know, I hand out probably a dozen a day. More sometimes. I have this free Bible sign. Eek! Don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. Okay. Good boy. I have a free Bible sign. I stand by the side of the road with the sign. And if somebody wants a Bible, they pull up and roll their window down. And I ask them 2 questions. I only ask to give them 1 question. How much? Then I tell them I'm praying for them. How many do you want? I waive off any money offers. I just give them the Bibles, however many they want. And then I tell them I'm praying for them, and then generally they go off. I don't take money. If somebody wants to buy me some Bibles, give them to me. Awesome, I'll take them. But, I don't ask, solicit, especially strangers. Never, never, never. I think that's a very good thing that God can use me for, and just tell people about what God's done in my life and how He has really carried me through some terrible times. And I also hand out Bibles and bags of candy to people, which is popular. The only complaint I've ever gotten was somebody stole the candy you gave me, or somebody stole the Bible you gave me, something like that. So I was given another one. I got saved by reading a Bible. Ron got saved by reading a Bible, so, it just seems logical to hand out Bibles. And I'm glad God can use me. One of my favorite Bible verses is 2 Corinthians 12:9 and 10. Paul was complaining to God and saying, God, why, please take this burden from me. He had a unknown affliction. And this is a good news Bible, but I'm not picky about translations. I figure the good Bible is the one you're reading. Anyways, he's complaining and he says, God, please take this burden from me. Here we go, 2 Corinthians 12:9. Sorry about this. But to keep me from being puffed up with pride because of the many wonderful things I saw, I was given a painful physical ailment, which acts as Satan's messenger to beat me and keep me from being proud. Bipolar, fetal alcohol. 3 times I prayed to God about this and asked Him to take it away, but His answer was, my grace is all you need, for my power is greatest when you are weak. I am most happy then to be proud of my weaknesses in order to feel the protection of Christ's power over me. I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and difficulties for Christ's sake, for when I am weak, then I am strong. And one of the things I also do is I pray. I have a prayer notebook, and I pray at least daily on this. I like to do it at least daily. And if you are a hater of God or whoever, you're still covered. I actually have a whole prayer request list for haters. Where are the haters? That sounds horrible, doesn't it? Criminals, prisoners, thugs, and haters. Salvation for anybody who hurt me or Ron or those we love. Salvation for those we hurt. All that good stuff. So, I am praying for you, and I hope you found this interesting. My last one was way too long, so I'm trying to keep this short. Alrighty.